with Alex Goad. He's the co-founder and designer of the Reef Design Lab. And you're also a sculptor, and let's maybe just start with that. What is your artistic work about?
In what, sorry?
Your artistic work, what is it?
I mean, look, I think a lot of my artistic work is kind of just an excuse to sort of create without any sort of constraints or boundaries. So it's very indulgent for me, I suppose. But a lot of the sculpture work that I do does look at sort of, I'm really interested in, like cellular makeup of marine organisms especially, so I do a lot of scuba diving and, we bring back a lot of specimens and dissect them, so I work a bit with my marine biologist co-founder, and yeah, I mean, it's sort of a learning, process for me as well. So, yeah, we photograph a lot of the sort of sponge specimens that we have in Melbourne and that sort of thing, and that inspires a lot of sculptural sort of work from that.
And in your work at the Reef Design Lab, you focus on growth, but on the regrowth of ecosystems that have been hurt by damaged reefs. Could you explain that, and maybe also with the models you have behind you, show us?
Yeah, sure. I mean, my final graduate project was a modular artificial reef structure, and basically I sort of designed the structure specifically for areas like the Philippines that have experienced a lot of dynamite fishing and that sort of thing. So when the reefs are completely wiped out, one of the biggest problems, especially when you have like fringing reefs, with increased sort of El Nino weather, so the increase of storms and that sort of thing, when you don't have those sort of fringing reefs from islands, those islands get completely destroyed during storms because a reef acts as a natural barrier to waves and large weather. So the concept was to redevelop that sort of calcium carbonate sort of limestone structure to redevelop reefs and help them restore quicker rather than waiting for the coral to grow from the ground up. So the concept was to develop sort of a cellular system which would be lightweight but extremely strong, so really easy to implement. And we wanted to make it modular so that it could be easily installed by individuals. So especially in island communities, you don't have access to large cranes or barges. So it was really important for it to be, able to be installed by individual sort of small community groups. So that's why each unit sort of acts like Lego. So each unit is placed on the seafloor and then connected to the next to create this sort of this cellular structure. So it's also really important to point out that it's not trying to create, fake-looking coral or anything like that. It's just creating the skeletal structure to give coral the chance to actually grow on top of something so that they have better access to the sunlight, obviously, which they need to grow, and better access to, water currents, more oxygen, that sort of thing. And then from that we then developed Reef Design Lab, where we've gone into doing sort of eco-engineering projects and a majority of other things.
And what makes your method so much better than other regrowth methods?
So other artificial reef, that's a good question. Other artificial reefs really haven't tried to innovate in any other way. A lot of the sort of, there's really been no innovation in the industry at all. So most artificial reefs are just simple sort of concrete units. So we're really, I think, the first company to, really come up with something new. So it's not particularly hard to do that in an industry that hasn't embraced any innovation at all. But I think the thing that really sets this product, especially the Mars product, apart from others, is making it modular, so it can be built as big or as small as necessary. There's no restrictions on size. So if you wanted a tall sort of pelagic tower, you could build that. If you wanted a small low-lying reef, you could build that as well. And the concept was that you could build sort of caves and that sort of thing. So I think what really sets it apart is the flexibility of the system.
And how do you then actually build those modular structures?
So the Mars units are made from a ceramic which is sort of like a food grade ceramic, which is really similar to calcium carbonate in its chemical makeup. It's also used by a lot of scientists when they're trying to get juvenile corals to grow on the surface of a material. So it's kind of the industry standard for the best material for coral larvae to settle on. And especially when coral larvae can be incredibly sort of sensitive, so it's been proven to be the best material for that. So we use that material, and then we basically slip cast them so that they're hollow shells. A good example I think is this. So we slip cast the ceramic so it's a hollow shell, and then for strength we fill it with marine concrete and composite rebar. So each unit weighs about 20 kilos. But then once you create these huge structures, they can weigh up to tons and tons. So I love the idea of sort of translating, like using the sort of Lego metaphor. It's kind of like putting a Lego structure together underwater. I used a lot of Lego as a kid. So.
No, I really, really like the idea. One last question though. I mean, we all know helping something regrow is not actually tackling the actual problem of the destruction of the environmental issue we're facing. Why do you think that people still don't realize that we also need to change our behavior?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good point. I should also stress that a lot of people, they do assume that something like this, an artificial reef, is the answer to restore coral reefs, and it's absolutely not. Not when we have an artificial reef can't protect against ocean acidification, warming temperatures, coral bleaching, agricultural runoff, El Nino weather. So, pests is another good one. We can't protect these. This is not some sort of magic answer. So I think. Sorry, what was the question again? I got carried away.
Well, why people still don't realize that they need to do something about their behavior.
Look, I think people do realize. They do realize what's happening, but I think it's just so difficult when. When your everyday life, like driving to work and back, when you have to do it, and when you can't see like a physical change in the environment and how what you're doing every day is physically changing the environment, how can you change anything? And I mean, also, it's difficult when everyone you work with, your family, everyone you know, all does the same thing. It's kind of like, well. The small thing that I'm doing is, I think every single person individually sort of blame large companies like some of the transporters that we spoke to and that sort of thing. So I think people really just don't realise that their everyday actions contribute to it. I think people always blame the bigger polluters and that sort of thing. I think it depends. I also think it's sad because I do think some people just don't care. I mean, I know in Australia I speak to a lot of my friends, and I mean even some of them, highly educated people, they still sort of don't. They just don't. Some people even don't believe in global warming. They think it's exaggerated and that sort of thing. But it's very frustrating for me in my work because I go diving and I see corals that have bleached. I see the change in the environment over a course of sort of just 3 years. I think more people maybe need to be exposed to how the environment is changing. I still can't believe people sort of don't understand and don't watch the documentaries, but maybe when you see it in real life, that can provoke change, you would hope.
Well, thank you very much.
No.